Hello and welcome to the How Could You Forget podcast, a podcast where your hosts Gordon, Lexi, and Eric come together and learn about a topic that maybe you'd forgotten about, never heard about, or it's simply too good to forget. So we come off of last week with a guest of Babo, and this gig is starting to get pretty easy because I'm not the host again this week. The host for this week with the topic will be one Lexi. And what are we going to be forgetting or remembering about?
So we are going to be forgetting and then remembering and then wanting to forget again. Basically, the history / common thread between awards and gaming. So there's a couple of different categories that I'll be talking about with that, with the inclusion that the Game Awards is going to hit its 10th anniversary this week. 10th anniversary of the Game Awards TM.
Let's go.
Hosted by Geoff Keighley, created by Geoff Keighley. But we're going to go a little bit back in time as well and talk about obviously something that some people have heard of before, some people have not, the Spike Video Game Awards, as well as the first televised Game Awards show called Cybermania 94. So
the most metal name ever, yes.
Right, I know.
That name just reeks of 94. Like
Reeks of 94 is actually the name of my cologne, Eric.
Oh my god. So basically, I got this idea because, I watch the Game Awards. I'm not a heavy gamer, but I like games, and so I watch the Game Awards, and I'm just coming up on 10 years, and there was a video by Burback on YouTube, fantastic channel. They did a video on the history of the Spike Game Awards, or what is the actual name? It was actually the Spike Video Game Awards, so excuse me. They did a video on the history of that, and the end of that video does speak a little bit about Geoff Keighley and his background and stuff. So there are some things in this episode that were mentioned in that Burback video. So please go check out that Burback video if you have not already watched it, because it is awesome. It goes through every year of the Spike Video Game Awards. I will not be doing that on this podcast, but highly encourage you to check that video out because they do have footage and actual clips from those shows, and it is interesting. So there's my plug for that video, but I wanted to jump a little bit into more of the background on it and how gaming awards have shifted over time, and just as we're coming up on the 10th anniversary of the Game Awards, which is really the biggest or most produced, I would say, version of awards for gaming and things adjacent to that we have. I know that there are other awards that happen and other awards that go to games and people that work in gaming fields, but to my knowledge, the Game Awards is truly like it is the Oscars of games. Like, you want your game to be at the Game Awards, and a lot of people will preview trailers and give first looks at the Game Awards. So I think that speaks to the importance of the Game Awards and what it means in culture. So
importance to gaming, Lexi. For all the underrepresented gamers out there.
Exactly. For the most oppressed class, gamers.
You know, it's interesting that you say that because the actual the actual origin, and I'll get into this a little bit more as I'm kind of going to go chronologically a little bit so that I don't jump all over the place. But some of the first iterations of game awards or just gaming in popular culture, gamers were treated like absolute losers. Like, gaming has done a complete 180 to become something that is extremely popular. You know, the vast majority of people, I would say, have played a game, do play a game, because there's so many genres out there now. So back, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, hell, 30 years ago, in Cybermania 94, which we'll talk about. It's come a long way. So I'm very excited to share this information with you guys because I think it's interesting, and we will find out, are gamers truly still oppressed? Are gamers still oppressed?
Gamers are the most oppressed, Lexi. Okay.
Well, I mean, we'll see about that.
Oh,
Let's
okay.
find out.
Okay. I guess we're going to learn.
So I'm going to start by talking about Geoff Keighley himself, because he is the common thread through all of this, even Cybermania 94, if you can believe it.
Is that
Everything's
old?
connected.
Actual question?
Yeah, he was born in 1978.
Oh my God, Geoff Keighley's so... I'm kidding.
No, he's not that old. And he grew up in the Toronto area, so in a suburb of Toronto.
Oh, he's Canadian also.
Canada, represent. Both of his parents were executives at IMAX, so the movie peoples. And they became members of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. So when he was younger, he was just really exposed to a lot of this stuff with movies and television and things like that. And he gained a lot of appreciation for the award shows that happened around those. So when he was young, he, with his brother, I think it says, he and his younger brother, they were really big fans of computers and video games that were, coming about. And as a teenager, he started Game Slice in 1996, which was a website for game reviews and journalism. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I can't speak today. So we can already see the foundation that Geoff Keighley was already a fan since he was young of games, and even started his own website to review games. So in 1994, so 2 years before he created his own Game Slice review website, there was the award show Cybermania 94. And this was
such a name every time.
I know. I feel goofy. I said it like 3 times in the same sentence.
Every time
there,
you say it, I feel like I get more hair gel in my hair. Just like a big old slick back
it feels very Terminator to me.
Yeah.
Like it just feels, I don't know. I just imagine Terminator type of stuff. So Cybermania 94 was actually created by an entertainment lawyer named Andrew Zucker. This was because he was watching the 43rd Primetime Emmy Awards in 1991, and he was really inspired to do something for games because he enjoyed games and thought that that could be lucrative. So it was created by the Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences, or AIAS, and it was broadcast live on TBS in November of 1994. So this was the first televised game awards ever. If we think about how popular gaming was in the mid-90s, which was not very, you won't be shocked to find out that there were only 12 award categories, and that Mortal Kombat won for Best Overall Game.
The original?
So... yes.
Oh, they were down bad.
I believe so.
They were down bad.
It just says Mortal Kombat from 1992.
Okay.
So...
okay, nice.
Wait.
Mortal
Hold
Kombat.
on. So the Mortal Kombat in 1992 won the award for Game of the Year in 94?
For Best Overall Game.
But, okay, I mean,
So,
I missed it a little bit.
yeah.
So the
better.
So they're just saying like, oh, this is the best game. But like,
Yeah. They're
Yeah.
saying Mortal Kombat is the best game of all time. That is what is being
Yeah,
said.
it's
pretty
been
much.
decided.
Yeah, it was
True.
just like, up
I
until
don't know why
this
they
point,
kept-
Mortal Kombat was the best.
I was gonna say I don't know why they kept making games
They
past
should've
1994,
stopped.
dog. Mortal Kombat,
you can't-
that's it. That's peak.
You can't be the best game. They already decided. Sorry.
Right, and it seems like, again, this is an interesting point of like, gaming went a lot slower 30 years ago, So like now we have, I would argue, hundreds of games come out in a year, and only a handful of them really make a cultural impact or really sell a bunch of copies and stuff. But I guess at the time, a game that was released in 1992, that was still considered the best overall game to almost 3 years later, basically. Because I'm looking at the Mortal Kombat, because I clicked to make sure that I was on the right version of Mortal Kombat, is that Mortal Kombat, the original, won the most controversial game of 1993 from Electronic Gaming Monthly. And In 1996, Games Master listed it as 81st in their top 100 games of all time. So I think when it says that it won the best overall game, I think it was just like, hey, this is the coolest game that's still out there.
Oh, so it's almost kind of like a Time Person of the Year type thing, where it's like not necessarily the most amazing, but it's the most like culturally relevant and impactful. Like it's been the most, like the biggest mainstay.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, and I looked at the list from the Cybermania 94 categories and the winners in those categories. I legitimately don't know any of the other games. Like Mortal Kombat is the only game that I had ever heard of.
Oh man, I'm just kind of curious to see if I'd recognize any games. I probably wouldn't. But
let me see if I can find. I have the Cybermania.
It's just like Mega Man
pulled up. Okay, so I'll go ahead and because I'm not going to do this for the Spike Video Game Awards for every year because again Burback has already done that, and then.
Well, yeah, and also I think a lot of people listening would know more about the games released like in like the early thousands and like early tens and everything.
Right.
So that the Spike Game Awards would cover. But I'm interested in Cybermania.
So
don't forget the number, Eric. Don't you forget that number.
94.
Sorry, Cybermania *94. There,
okay, thank you.
Yes,
thank you for the apostrophe
because they tried to do this again in 1996.
Why only every 2 years?
Because Cybermania 94 was received very negatively. Journalistic reception was largely negative, is what it says. Quote,
from who?
It was
the
seen
gamers?
by 1.1% of U.S. households. So
is that bad?
That's a lot.
That's not negligible.
Yeah, that's more than I thought, honestly.
It says, quote, journalistic reception was largely negative. So I guess they were like, nope, we ain't ready for games. We're not ready for Game Awards yet.
The world is not ready yet.
They weren't ready for the gamers. Like
So
I'm sure they weren't ready for the Industrial Revolution either, but that still happened.
Right.
The sliding scale of humanity. Video games.
The Industrial Revolution, and then all the way on the other end of the spectrum is gamers. There we go.
The only
That's
two
my
things
hypothesis.
that have happened in humanity are those.
So if you want a little bit, I originally wasn't going to talk in depth about this, but for the Cybermania 94 on the Wikipedia page right now, the reception being negative, the quote here is the Bill Kunkel, writing for Electronic Games,
great name,
criticized the show's production value, including missing details for games, such as platforms, developer, and publishers, no names for people who collected the awards, miscues, poor writing, and bad performances. So that was the reception. So not necessarily that they were mad that, Mortal Kombat won or anything, but they were like, this show was a mess. Like, you didn't produce this well at all.
Yeah, Mr. Kunkel wasn't really a big fan of how it was organized.
No.
So the best overall game category where Mortal Kombat won. Okay, so I lied. There are a couple more games on here that I have heard of, but
I hope if they went all the way to the
there are definitely more that I have heard of now that I did scroll, but it's definitely not as much as like when you get into the Spike Video Game Awards, like some of those I'm like, oh, okay, I know every game in this category.
Because Lexi's a gamer. Let's just make that clear.
Oh, yeah. I'm such gaming.
Such a big gamer. So much.
So Cybermania 94, best overall game. Mortal Kombat was the winner. It was up against Doom.
Oh.
A game called Myst. NBA Jam. And
let's go.
Super Street Fighter 2.
Oh, I know all those.
Yeah,
actually, I've been playing Myst recently. I'm surprised that shit didn't win Game of the Year. I mean, I guess I'm not surprised, actually, because it's very weird.
Just
best
immediately
overall game.
Sorry, best overall game.
1994. Yes. And then, of course, there's a couple other categories. I don't want to read every single game nominated in the...
Is there like a crazy one? Is there like game with the best like voice acting?
Best comedy.
Comedy games?
What are some comedy games? I am intrigued.
I'll read some of the funny ones because obviously best overall game makes sense. Best action/adventure makes sense. At this time, they had a best CD computer game and then best portable, so that made sense as well. Best comedy, the winner was The Wacky World of Miniature Golf, which there's no Wikipedia page for.
Oh no,
it doesn't exist.
Lost media.
It was up against I'm Your Man Dennis
wait,
Miller,
sorry, Iron Man?
No, I'm Your Man.
Oh, I'm your... Okay.
That one does have a Wikipedia page.
Okay.
It was an interactive movie on DVD. All right. The other games
Wait,
in
that counts
category,
as a game?
Yes,
That's
that
what
would
I was
have counted as a
wondering.
So
game.
like Bandersnatch is a game?
I don't know. This says audience used seat-mounted joysticks to vote between 3 different options through 6. Yeah.
Joysticks.
Yeah,
What are
at
you-
6
Cool.
different points throughout the movie. So it was basically choose your own adventure,
6
but a movie.
points? That's barely... Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
And
All
then
right, let's go
Bugs
on.
Bunny Rabbit Rampage. That's the only other one that I have roughly heard of. Of course, they have best sports, best simulation/strategy, best arts and graphics, best music, and then best actor, male and female for
Yeah, so
voice
pretty run of the
roles.
mill in terms of awards shows beyond that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Best comedy was interesting to me. I'm like, oh, that seems
They're like
weird.
the wedding
but-
singer.
I was going to say, that is pretty niche, especially already in such a niche industry at the time.
Right. So this was the first televised gaming award. I should just say gaming awards because the Game Awards is
You're going to get real confusing
confusing.
with the gaming
Yes.
awards of the gaming awards.
the
you know?
first televised video game award show.
Okay.
Boom.
Cybermania, the Ultimate Gamer Awards.
Don't forget the number.
Did not do well. But hey, you know what? It was the first one that was ever done. But why is this relevant to...
Lexi, I do have one quick question.
Yes.
Where was this in LA that I missed that part? Was this like in a
It was at
big
the
city?
Hollywood Pantages Theater.
So that would be in LA.
So it
So all
was
the
in
way in
Los
LA
Angeles.
still.
Yes, it was
My
still in Los
goodness.
Angeles.
Who went to this? Like, I know.
That's a good question. Let's see.
Was there actually a lot? Because if
So-
there's people voting, was it just a bunch of nerds that were making video games? Like,
Well, see, okay, so it was through that Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences. They voted. So
they
it was
might not have
similar
even
to
been
like...
gamers.
Oh, it just says the nominations were voted on by the Academy's 300-member body.
Oh, okay. So maybe there's 300 gamers.
I
on
mean,
Earth.
it was very possible that it wasn't gaming, but it does say here, some companies such as LucasArts decided to stay out of the event due to the unclear credibility of the AIAS. So it sounds like maybe they had publishers, developers, voice actors, like anybody could be in this 300-member Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences.
Huh.
Wow. Okay.
So it was pretty legit. Like, all things considered, it was pretty legitimate.
I was going to say, yeah, that's a lot. That's a good setup.
But yeah, so, and then it also says something about including televoting. So televoting.
Oh, could you vote through like call this number and vote for
Yep.
Mortal Kombat?
Yes, and that's exactly.
Yeah, because I guess this would be like before, like a majority of people had internet in their homes, so that would be the only way to do that.
And you're exactly right, Gurdon. It was televoting was used for best overall game, which was Mortal Kombat was the winner of. So
Gotcha.
Okay.
Alrighty.
So that is pretty much all I have about Cybermania 94. It didn't really do
It was amazing.
great.
It was before its own time.
right. But why is this important to, the history of the Spike Video Game Awards into the Game Awards? Well, that is because Geoff Keighley, although he was a teenager at the time of Cybermania 94, due to his parents' connections in the industry, he was brought in to help write lines for celebrity
Wow.
hosts to read.
Whoa.
So this is direct
lucky dude.
from Wikipedia.
Bro's
I
a
did
lifelong
not,
gamer.
yeah, I did not find that, this is on Wikipedia, but I was like, oh my gosh, 14-year-old Geoff Keighley got a phone call. It was like, hey, your kid's a gamer, right? Can you help him? Can you help him write some lines for us so that we can appear more gamery at this award show?
Appear more gamery.
Yeah. So I'm like, well,
Wow.
absolutely no offense to Geoff Keighley. He's amazing. But maybe the reason why they didn't really like some of the writing was because it was a 14-year-old?
Can't
Again,
really fault him on
absolutely
that
no
one.
disrespect, but I wonder why. I wonder why.
He's like, don't you like one of the jokes on there? Actually, I actually just pulled up the entire video and watched it while you were speaking, Lexi. Like one of the jokes on there was like, "Don't you hate it when your parents ground you?" Like that was one of the major jokes that ran through the
Don't
whole.
you hate it when your floppy disk doesn't have enough room on it?
He did
Or
that after
whatever.
every single joke. By the way, he made that
Yeah.
sound.
This hair.
That's where Bazinga came from. He actually
okay.
started that. And then Big Bang Theory thought we need to resonate with the gamers. So
So what you're saying is that if we go back in time and we stop Geoff Keighley from doing that, then Big Bang Theory wouldn't exist.
no.
I think that's a pretty. I mean, that'd be a win-win.
It's like,
honestly.
wait, that's the conclusion
Eric's
I drew.
getting the
So
Eric's getting the committee together to make the time machine now. Okay.
also apparently a part of the production, he was labeled, quote, an interactive products specialist. He wrote narration for William Shatner to read about the nominees.
That's awesome.
Okay, that's kind of legendary. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah. That is
Wow.
really cool. So shout out to Geoff Keighley, but yeah, Cybermania 94, needless to say, did not do well. Did not take off. So fast forward to Spike TV, right? So I'm going to give you a little bit of background for Spike TV because Eric, I know you're in Canada. Maybe you had Spike TV, but people outside of the US or people that didn't have cable might be like, what the hell is a Spike TV?
Sounds sharp.
I mean, I have heard of Spike TV. I don't remember much about it though. I think my like my parents had it in the house when I was like single digits in age, but that was about
Right.
it.
Have you ever heard of the show Mansers?
I can't say I do, but is it as problematic as it sounds?
Oh, yeah.
God,
yeah,
okay.
it is.
Right.
That is probably, when I think of Spike TV, I think of a TV show called Mansers, and it was, yeah. When I read you the description about Spike TV and some of their stuff, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, no wonder this didn't do well.
or why
boy.
did it
All right,
do so
let's
well?
do
Yeah.
So in April of 2003, a network, TNN, would be relaunched as Spike TV. So it was promoted with the slogan, quote, the first network for men.
Oh.
The parent company
Just the-
Viacom.
Oh.
Yeah. Men actually were not legally allowed to watch TV until the station happened. I remember
I
my
know.
dad telling me stories about
Right.
it. It was actually a pretty dark time.
I
It
know.
was this really weird thing on history. Eric. I don't know if you actually heard about this, but like anytime a man would see a TV, it would be almost like there was like a static effect over the TV until Spike came along. Like,
Yeah. Like my
my
dad would like
God.
notice his sister like watching something and like laughing, and then my dad would go over and she'd just be laughing at static, and he's just like, What's going
Yeah,
on?
you don't get the gene to be able to process the waves of the TV. You know, it's like being colorblind. You just
and then
can't.
Spike came through with their scientific advancement of TVs that men can see. It's beautiful.
Right.
we should really be
So-
thanking Spike TV for everything they've done for television.
Thank you, Spike TV.
Thank you.
So,
But
Sorry.
along those
Oh, God.
lines,
Okay.
the parent company Viacom aimed to target young men aged 18 to 34, quote, a demographic they believed were being served insufficiently by other cable networks.
Who? What?
okay.
Who?
Yeah,
Who?
so-
What do you
All right.
mean?
I mean, I wasn't really alive or that thinking critically during that time, but like, was there really just nothing
Isn't
else
that
that
the
men could
main
watch? Like, I
demographic?
don't know.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Isn't that the main demographic for these things? Is literally that age group?
Yeah, pretty sure there were action movies and stuff like that before.
Yeah, but those weren't on
Television.
TV, Lexi. That's the difference.
Oh,
though.
true. So I want to give a little bit of the history of Spike TV before I dive into the game. Oh, the Spike TV Game Award, or Spike Video Game Awards.
Spike
Excuse me.
TV.
Oh my God. You know what I mean. Okay. So network was created in 2003 because they're like, men have no TV network. So
We didn't, Lexi, until
Yeah.
Spike came along. Stop.
So it was on for a couple of years, and in 2005, the parent company of the channel, Viacom, they conducted research on how people were reacting to Spike TV. And they found that viewers said that it was predominantly lowbrow, violent, and reliant on sex appeal.
Oh,
Oh, let's go.
So they were like, that's not good. So in 2006, they rebranded. They got a new logo. They shortened the name
Was that
to
their
just...
problem? Was the logo?
No, but just wait. So, reveal the new logo. They shortened their name to just being Spike. And their new slogan was, quote, "Get more action." And the new brand was described as being authentic and unapologetically masculine, while emphasizing action as a core genre of programming for the network.
Huh.
Okay.
Alrighty.
So we went from network for men to still network for men, but we don't want to say that in our slogan.
Yeah, they're just saying the loud part out quiet now.
Out quiet, yeah. That's
Yeah.
the term.
Yeah, so it's something like that, or So they rebranded in 2006, continued on, and they just realized, that's really not working for us. And at this time in the period between 2006 up until about 2015, again, as we'll get to, the Spike Video Game Awards only lasted until 2013, I think.
Wait, for how many years would that be? Sorry, quick math.
Well, I'll get to
11.
Okay.
that. I'll get to that.
Sorry.
But so the Spike Video Game Awards was already dead at this point.
No.
But in 2015, Spike rebranded yet again with a new logo.
Cool.
And the tagline, quote, "The ones to watch," where this rebranding aimed to make it more inclusive. Obviously, they wanted women watching the network, so they were trying to change it. And they wanted to focus on, quote, "big talent, engaging shows, and hits that get people talking." So they realized this.
What were any of their shows? Like, I don't remember this time period, but
at that point,
was that just like 1,000 Ways to Die and like that's it that was on their show?
I want to say it was like a lot, like Bar Rescue.
Cops?
Yeah, they had a show called DEA apparently that focused on the Drug Enforcement Agency that was similar to like Cops.
Yeah, I mean that sounds like it'd be on there.
Yeah. So it was still pretty dude bro. Like it wasn't as in your face dude bro as we will talk about with some of the first video game awards on Spike, but it was still for men. I mean, even though they rebranded to not being, quote, the first network for men, they were still, advertising for that. So,
Lexi, I have a very quick side thing that I want to mention for this, and it's not to mess you up at all, but is this like when Dr. Pepper made that entire beverage that only men could drink or whatever it was, that was like Dr. Pepper 10 or something, that was like, this is for men, and like all their commercials were...
Oh, you know what? That might be... Let me look up Dr. Pepper for men. Let me see when they tried to do that. Okay, so they did that in 2011.
Okay.
Where they did the Dr. Pepper 10.
Dr. Pepper 10?
For men, yeah.
It was basically...
Dr. Pepper for men.
So, Eric, the quick... Sorry, everybody. We're going to take a little bit of a tangent and then get right back to our
It's our own show. We can do what we want. I'm going to start talking about, like,
who cares?
This is brought to you by a not sponsored message. So, historically, diet drinks were marketed towards women because they're like, oh, women are trying to watch their figure and watch their weight, so they want diet drinks and diet soda. So Dr. Pepper, even though there was Diet Dr. Pepper at the time.
It already exists. It still does.
Yeah, it already existed. They made Dr. Pepper 10.
For men.
For men.
Because it rhymed with 10. Get it?
Because I think it was only 10 calories.
I think so. I think that's their...
Yes, it was only 10 calories.
And they also only sold 10 cans, so makes sense.
I believe that.
They sold it in a pack of 10? Oh my gosh.
No, that's a joke, Lexi.
Oh, okay.
A joke.
I thought you meant that they sold it in a pack of 10.
No, I was saying that they didn't make any sales.
No, but that'd be really funny.
That would be funny. But so basically, that would align with the Spike was really doing that earlier on, but it would align with that kind of, dividing along gender lines of marketing that was going on. So
yeah,
all these beverages are just woke, just sorry.
Honestly.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
yeah,
so
let's
anyway.
went to 2011 when we had Dr. Pepper 10.
Yeah.
God.
Man,
sorry, go on.
Those were the days. I say as a woman.
Thank you for adding that in. The resident woman of the
Resident woman. Man, I do remember my Dr. Pepper 10.
Y'all remember whenever there was girly Dr. Pepper? Sorry, continue. Lexi.
You're good. So, just a little bit more background on Spike before we jump into the main meat and potatoes here. So, 2015, Spike rebranded again. This is where their tagline was, like I mentioned earlier, the ones to watch.
That's a crap tagline. Let me just jump in and say that.
Yeah, I'm like, watch what? What does that mean? Like, that's literally so
yeah, like
vague.
it doesn't really say anything about like the actual content. It's just like, here's a thing you can watch.
Corporate,
just like every other
buzzwords.
channel. Like
At least with the action line, it was like, oh hey, there's action here, like action movies and exciting
yeah, like
stuff.
at least it tells you what's on it. Like
Even the first network for men, as shitty as an idea that is, I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay, so it's illegal for Lexi to watch this. Gotcha. Okay.
yeah. There you go.
Oh my
Finally, my
gosh.
dad could have watched TV. It's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
For all these.
I can honestly tell you, I did not watch any Spike TV.
Well, Lexi, every time you tried to
Spike
turn to the
Network.
channel, it was just static again. Like they
Right,
mastered
they did the
technology.
reverse thing. Yeah. True.
I'm so sorry. Continue.
So anyway, ran like that from 2015. I think I don't even remember what shows they had on there. Somebody,
1,000 Ways to Die.
probably, who knows?
No doubt. Yeah.
But anyway.
Man versus Food, probably. And that might be the Food Channel. I don't know.
I'll say I don't remember that one. So 2015, they rebranded. They ran with it for a while. Then again, in September of 2020, I'll just read this as a quote. Viacom CBS President of Entertainment and Youth Brands, Chris McCarthy, told Variety in an exclusive interview that Paramount Network would so it was renamed to Paramount Network, and it was will launch as a movie channel.
Okay.
So it to tentatively be known as the Paramount Movie Network.
Okay,
So-
that's a pretty bad name for a network still, but I mean, it's very
Yeah.
corporate, so I can understand it.
So, in January of 2022, Deadline reported that the network relaunch had been shelved, partly due to COVID,
Just screw it. It ain't
in
worth it.
addition to rating success of some shows that they had on their network. So, in 2022, the network, which I think was just called Paramount Network now, in 2022, their lone original drama was Yellowstone, which launched alongside the rebranding as Paramount
Yellowstone
Network.
came from Spike?
Excuse me, Paramount Network.
Oh,
The
right.
artist formerly known as Spike? Yes.
Right, right. So, yeah, Yellowstone. Yellowstone came from that. And then, of course, one of the only other shows mentioned here is Bar Rescue. That was carried over from Spike, which is airing new episodes, or was airing new episodes in 2022. I don't know if it's over now. So, yeah, Spike TV is responsible for Yellowstone.
It sounds like a threat when you say, Spike TV is responsible for Yellowstone. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I don't personally watch Yellowstone, but every person that is older than me watches that show.
I don't think I've ever I think I've heard of it in passing. I don't think I've ever even seen an
Middle-aged
episode.
to older adults, every one of them I know watches Yellowstone. And basically, I think it's a...
you don't know about the Duttons, Lexi?
Oh, God, no. I think it is a period drama. Maybe it's not.
I'm looking it up now, and it seems very like cowboy centric.
Yeah.
The
Which, like...
the first thing I see is a Reddit thread simply titled "Yellowstone sucks." So that's
my
good.
gosh,
That's promising.
funny. So anyway, basically, without
so
getting into
sorry.
it, sorry to offend any Yellowstone fans out there. I've never
Any
seen it, so I
Yellowheads?
don't.
That sounds bad.
I don't know if it's good or not. But
I'm going to take that one back.
it's a Western drama, and it has been absolutely crucial in saving Paramount Network and
Spike TV, the one thing that matters here.
Well, no, it didn't save Spike TV because Spike TV died.
died. Oh,
So-
no.
No, men can't watch TV anymore.
Oh my God.
That's why I haven't watched TV.
That's why we have the Game Awards.
Oh,
Woo!
sorry, continue. Let's see what
Okay. So that was just some of the history about Spike and what it eventually turned into, and the fact that it is no more. So I
Rest
want
in
to
peace.
go back now to Geoff Keighley and his role at Spike, because again, Geoff Keighley's kind of the thread through all of these. So when Spike was Spike TV, they brought on Geoff Keighley to host his own show called Game Trailers TV with Geoff Keighley in 2003. So 2003.
These names are not very good. Still.
No. I mean, I guess it was good for Geoff Keighley because his name was at the front of every episode of the show.
True.
But
like the Joys of Painting with Bob Ross, but I like video games with Geoff Keighley, basically, is what it said.
we watch game trailers with Geoff Keighley.
Ooh. I mean, that would go hard on YouTube. I ain't gonna lie.
True.
Yeah, that would. But so basically, Geoff Keighley was brought on to host the show, and he always had this idea that he wanted to do something, as they say, quote, equivalent to the Academy Awards, but for video games. Like, he was very inspired by this idea. He really wanted to try to see and make that happen. So he gets brought on to Spike TV in 2003. He hosts the show for them. He does a couple other things. I thought this was interesting. This is a quote from the Wikipedia article. It says, during his career, he was also interviewed on what became a controversial Fox News segment on Mass Effect, as it was later praised by gamers online for Geoff Keighley being the only one on the show who had actually played the game.
Oh my gosh.
So it seems like they were interviewing him about it, and nobody knew what the hell it was even about, other than, of course, Geoff Keighley.
How do you go on a show, basically it sounds like, to review and talk about a game, if you're just like, nah, I'll never do this? Like, what do you...
Yeah, I don't know.
That's weird.
And did you say this is on Fox?
Yes, it was a Fox News interview.
So that makes total sense. Yeah, that makes, yep.
Mm-hmm. Or a segment. So I'm curious. I would love to be able to find that segment maybe and watch it. I don't know if it's lost media or if it's maybe just 2 clicks away. But
I say Eric's going to do like 3 clicks. He's going to find like, oh, it's right here.
Right. I included that line at the end that he was praised by people for being the only one who had played the game, because that becomes a very common thread throughout a lot of these video game award shows, especially the Spike Video Game Awards. So, the first Spike Video Game Awards was in 2003, and it was hosted by David Spade.
Let's go! Let's go!
Okay.
Again, I will, for the 3rd time, mention, if you are interested in seeing clips of this and like a deeper dive, please go check out that Burbag video, because they go through every video game awards and all the footage for that. They give you a recap. It's great.
Oh gosh.
But for the sake of this podcast, we won't go into all the details, but just for reference, so that you can, sadly, I Burback does it better, and I also just don't have 5 hours to go through all of that. But for reference, just to get an idea of where we're at in the timeline of gaming, or gaming in pop culture, the winner of Game of the Year in 2003 at the Spike Video Game Awards was Madden NFL 2004.
Let's go!
Yes, Madden.
Everybody,
my favorite game of 2004.
The
game of the year.
most anticipated game.
Please tell me it's Madden 05. Please tell me it's Madden.
Halo 2.
Let's go!
Oh,
That game's awesome.
that would have been amazing, but no.
So
I mean, Halo 2 makes sense.
Yes.
Oh,
I guess,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
That game was very, very, very like, hey, yo, I want to play this game.
Yeah.
And so, again, I'm not going to recap every single one of them for every award, but just to give you an idea, though, too, the best PC game, Halo Combat Evolved. Best fighting game was WWE SmackDown. Best first-person action was Call of Duty.
Like the first one?
I believe so.
Oh my goodness.
Yes,
Wow.
the very first Call of Duty game. And best fantasy game was Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh, that game's awesome, though.
I actually never played that game.
KOTOR is great. Very, very good.
There
game.
was also a category for best driving game. And that went to NASCAR Thunder 2004.
Let's go. NASCAR
So-
Thunder.
Let's go.
Fans, rise up.
This is where
W
we're
NASCAR?
at. This is where we're at in the the timeline of games of these are the kind of games that we are working
That's
with.
what like the cultural zeitgeist is praising or building up. Yeah.
Right. So,
I'm still laughing at Madden 04 winning for 03. I know that's their naming convention, but still, it's funny that they're like,
yeah, that is
the
pretty
game
funny.
of the year for 2003.
So
Madden 2004.
right. It is also, again, not going to recap all of it, but also just to give you some more of an idea of where we're at. The awards in 2004, the game of the year was Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Oh, let's go.
Let's go.
So by this point, gaming had really started to pick up steam, and a lot of
Steam?
no pun intended.
Limited Steam?
No pun intended there. But a lot of these games, I'm like, oh, okay, this either went on to be a franchise or people still talk about this game, and it's some pretty wild stuff.
Nice.
So even though there were a lot of big name games at these awards, and there were a lot of celebrities and all of that kind of stuff, it was not as cool as it sounds when we read it back. So, of course, the award shows were about games, but they were extremely different than the game awards that we know today. Whether you're looking at the game awards, I believe there's golden joystick or joystick awards, something of that nature. They are nothing like the game awards from 20 years ago. It was very celebrity focused. They had women in bikinis presenting the awards. They would bring on the Victoria's Secret Angels. It was very it was very sexist. Like, it was very much woman in bikini give trophy to guy who won award.
Ooga booga neuron activation kind of stuff.
Basically.
Lexi, I have a question for you, especially about this neuron activation here. Was this the one where they brought up actual nerds in like the audience or something like that as well? Am I thinking of
they've done that before.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, if you check out the Burback video, that would pinpoint exactly what year that was.
Okay.
But that's basically where I was going to get to, is that, they had categories such as Cyber Vixen. Like, who's the hottest woman in this game?
The hottest woman in a game? That was the whole point?
Basically, Cyber Vixen was like, who was the hottest woman in this game? So
all right.
The first year they did it, which I was seeing, was 2004, it looks like. And it was Blood Rain from Blood Rain 2.
Okay.
Whatever that is.
Yeah, I never heard of that, actually.
And
Y'all don't know about Blood Rain? I'm kidding, I've never played the game before.
Yeah.
2005 was, I'm going to probably butcher this, Maria Menounos as Eva in James Bond 007 From Russia with Love.
Wait, the movie? Or is there a James Bond game?
I mean, there are James Bond games. I'm assuming...
James Bond 007 From Russia with Love, I believe, is a game.
Okay.
I don't think that's the movie. I will double check and look that up. I do not believe that's the movie.
Shout out to another movie winning a game award.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, so it was a PlayStation 2 game.
Oh, okay.
So the movie, there was a movie in 1963 with 64 with Sean Connery. That is from Russia with Love. But the
my boy
game
Connery
is James Bond 007 From Russia with Love on the PlayStation 2, apparently.
Okay.
Pog.
Okay. I got you now.
But the other nominees in this category that I know who they are is Charlize Theron was someone, Jessica Alba was Invisible Woman, and I think...
How do you vote for an attractive woman if you can't see her?
Well, it's the voice talent, I guess.
Oh.
But yeah,
okay,
so it was basically...
I'll give it that, but if you're just like, oh, this person's so hot, like, but you
it's
can't even
also
see
been
him?
virtual. It's also been virtual, which is weird. Because in 2006... the winner of the Cyber Vixen of the Year is Alex Vance from Half-Life 2.
Huh.
Hold on.
But also...
Wait, that's a weird...
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think that they're super, like, oonga boonga, but I'm also not sitting there being like, they're Uggo McGee, like...
They also nominated Princess Peach, by the way, that year.
Well, they have to. Like, that's kind of the rule, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yes, Princess Peach, my favorite cyber vixen.
So anyway, got on a long tangent there, but basically that just gives you an idea of what kind of an award show this was. So while there
an award
were
show for men, Lexi.
Yeah, basically. But what's interesting is that, it's very male focused, and like we've known that the gaming industry has had a problem, trying to break out of that mold of being very male centric and trying to involve people of all different genders. But the weird part about this is they weren't even just like, oh, men are fine. They were dunking on people playing games. They had an award show that was supposed to be manly and cool and, oh, look at these girls in bikinis. But then the people that were actually playing the games, they portrayed the average gamer as a loser. And they actively made fun of gamers at the shows, made comments joking about the developers. Like, it blew my mind. I'm like, why would you make a show?
Yeah, that is wild. I mean, I guess it's more of a show for people who make fun of gamers as opposed to actually for gamers.
Well,
like,
they're just like, look at this version, and then they just cut to the entire audience, and that's the whole joke. Is like,
it's almost like they want to say certain types of games are cool. Like if you play Madden 04, you're cool and you're a bro. But if you're playing a different kind of game, you're a loser.
Ooh, that's rough.
It's very weird.
Sounds that way.
Odd.
So the Spike Video Game Awards ran for 10 years. They ran from 2003 to 2013. And just some of the things that I thought were interesting as we get back into, like, again, what's the Geoff Keighley connection here,
The Geoff Keighley connection is going to be the name of this episode now, by the way.
Oh, I like that.
The Geoff Keighley connection.
The Geoff
That's
Keighley
good,
connection.
actually.
I like that.
Why do I say a joke and it's real?
The Keighley connection. I can see Kermit singing it. So the Video Game Awards they were pretty popular. Obviously, if they went on for 10 years, they wouldn't have kept going for 10 years if nobody was watching them. I couldn't get any data necessarily on like how many people watched them, but again, I'm assuming enough to keep it going for 10 years.
Which would be a lot.
Right. However, especially as the culture was changing, as the times were changing, people began to express negative criticism of the Video Game Awards on Spike. So I'm going to read a couple of direct quotes here. Video game journalism veteran Jeff Green has been vocal in his criticism of the Spike Video Game Awards. In his assessment of the 2010 VGAs, Green laments that Spike TV alienated viewers due to their decision to focus on the awards on its own primary demographic, so meaning Spike TV, they want the manly men, rather than the video game community at large. So a lot of people who were involved in gaming, again, this video game journalist, Jeff Green, he was like, you're having these video game awards on Spike, but you're trying to cater it to the manly man frat bro, and that's just not who is gaming. That's not the video gaming community, is what he was saying. So as the time started to change, as gaming, again, it was shifting and evolving, again, over 10 years, people were like, okay, this making fun of gamers isn't funny. Like, it's never been funny, but it's really not funny now, because we tune in to watch to see what wins the game of the year or what won for the most anticipated game, and you're sitting there making fun of us. And people started to get, of course, upset about that.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
So after the massive flop that was 2013, which they did rebrand, and that the show that year was called, let me find it. It was changed to VGX.
Nice. Okay.
I don't really know why.
Because video games extreme, Lexi. Come on.
I was going to say, X sounds cool. That is the only reason.
Yeah.
Unless it's Twitter, then it's not cool. But,
They decided to change the name, and it was actually live streamed online to consoles, Twitch, Steam, iOS and Android devices, as well as GameTrailers.com, and then on the websites of Spike, Comedy Central, MTV, and BET. So they did not air this show live on Spike TV.
Dang.
Huh.
So
Wait,
that
why would
already
they not
kind of
put it on Spike though? If Spike is producing and it's on their app, like, or their online.
My speculation is that they knew that it was already.
They're like, this already
kind of.
dead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they might have already known that the whole like award show kind of setup they had going was just dead in the water after
Right.
it died. So they were
Okay.
just like, screw it. We are contractually obligated to do one more. Let's just
Let's
tuck
go
it away
all out,
somewhere.
YOLO. Yeah, I got you.
And honestly, if you've seen some clips, it was hosted by Joel McHale that year.
Oh, I know
And
that guy.
it featured.
Oh yeah, Joe McHale, my favorite gamer.
Yeah,
Not personally,
it-
but I've heard of him.
Excuse me.
I killed Lexi with that. I'm very sorry.
Woo!
We'll need a new host for next week.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
We're not even at the hour mark yet. What are we gonna do?
So the other problem was that they changed the format of the show as well.
Again?
Yes. So whereas the previous shows were all hosted live on stage, you know, had people attend them, this one was, quote, one-on-one interviews in a more intimate studio setting.
What?
Okay.
So
Okay.
that to me tells me, yeah, they were like, this ain't doing so hot.
They were just like, yeah.
So what's interesting about this, though, is that this would have been 11 years ago, but Game of the Year was Grand Theft Auto 5.
I mean,
Well, yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. Didn't Grand Theft Auto 5 come out in
13, I thought.
Yeah, isn't it 2013?
Yeah, but that's what's
Okay.
like. It's been around that long. That just like blows my mind.
Oh, okay.
And
Oh.
all-
I don't process time at all.
Oh,
so
sorry.
that-
Yeah, that was meaning to be my big shocker. Is that 11
Oh,
years
sorry.
ago?
Yeah, no. I mean, it probably is a big shock to people listening. My brain does not understand time as a concept. Like, I just kind of am here, and then I'm not, and then I'm,
You know, it's okay. It's
yeah.
okay.
My brain's a little bit stupid. But anyway, yeah, go.
Same,
And
brother.
the most anticipated game of that year was Titanfall.
Ooh, that game was good.
Okay, now
though.
that kind of hits me actually.
Okay.
That kind, because I remember Titanfall being a big thing. Like the prospect of it when I was in like high school.
True.
Okay. Yeah. So that kind of just gives you an overview of the Spike Video Game Awards later in that last year was called VGX, but you know, we went from Madden 2004 and Halo 2 to Grand Theft Auto 5 and Titanfall in that span
Okay.
of that 10-ish years. So just like I said, I think that's always interesting to look at and be like, oh wow, games really do change, and they've started to change a lot more rapidly. But anyway, Spike Video Game Awards weren't doing so hot. 2013 airs. It was an absolute disaster. People did not like it. The viewership was terrible because, again, they didn't put it on the TV channel. They streamed it to all
That
these different
still
places.
Confuses me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I would get it now, right? Like, in the year 2024, I can totally understand that.
You're like, technology, like it's kind of behind, yada,
Yeah.
yada, yada, like all that, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know.
2013.
I don't think I know anyone, like my roommate, all my previous roommates, all my friends. None of us have an active TV subscription.
No.
Because like
Right.
everything is like on streaming services and YouTube now.
Yeah.
Like we just haven't had a
Right.
need for it.
But back in 2013, like, I honestly, I didn't even know that Twitch was around in 2013.
It was in 2013.
Yeah.
Wait,
They
what?
I mean, I guess it
streamed-
makes sense,
yes.
but I don't know. I haven't seen it be that relevant for like until a few years ago.
They said rather than airing live on Spike TV, they streamed to Xbox One, 360, PlayStation 3, Twitch, Steam, iOS, and Android devices, as well as on GameTrailers.com.
Huh. All right.
Huh.
Yeah, just her kind
As
of,
well. Especially thinking about it too, it's like streaming on Android and iOS is also a weird choice. Like I can see it now,
Yeah.
especially because you can like do a picture-in-picture mode, so you can do other stuff on your phone when you're doing it. But in 2013, I don't think phones and Android iOS things were at that level.
No.
To
No.
As somebody
Yeah.
that I've been rocking with Android since day one. I have never owned an iPhone, but
Yeah, I was gonna say my
No
first phone,
way.
my first Android phone was a Samsung Galaxy S3 Mini. I could
Oh,
I could
wow.
not
Yeah.
imagine streaming on that thing.
no. So yeah, I mean, streaming to the consoles makes sense to me because if gamers had those consoles.
Gamers.
But I'm like, yeah, I did not even know that Twitch was a big player back then.
I didn't think so either.
Now 100% makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
But 2013, that was really shocking to me.
That's just so weird. Yeah, sorry, I'm kind of right there with you guys. I'm just like, what on earth?
What is time?
What is time? It's a seasoning, Lexi.
True.
Yeah. So we're at 2013. That show absolutely flopped. Apparently, Spike offered to continue the show in 2014, but they were going to go with streaming instead of broadcasting it. And at that point, Geoff Keighley was like, no, I'm good. I don't want to really be involved with that. I'm fine.
Okay.
Because Geoff Keighley, this is the funny little side fact. Obviously, we talked about 2013. He was not happy with the change in format. He thought that it was a lot more commercial and not a celebration of video games like he had wanted it to be. He was also ridiculed from Doritos Gate in 2012.
What? So I have so many questions.
I love Dorito Gate. That's all I'm saying. Before I even know what it is.
So Geoff Keighley was involved in Doritos Gate, and he became known derogatorily as the quote Dorito Pope.
I love this. I don't care who these people are. I love this so much.
So it's not nearly as funny as the nickname suggests, but what do you guys give me a guess? Why do you think this was called Doritos
Gate?
Put some wiretaps inside of in the voting booths to be able to get some early.
Oh God! I mean, I was just gonna say maybe he got the only logical thing that's coming to my head right now is maybe he got
logic.
Sponsored. Yeah, it's a good point. I probably shouldn't, but for now, what makes sense to me is that he got sponsored by Doritos, which gave him fundings to go on to do his own Game Awards thing in 2014 after the Spike one.
Okay.
Maybe that would make
Eric,
sense.
That makes too
the problem
much
is that
sense.
makes too much sense.
Yeah, that there was some background things of him trying to leave and.
Yeah, maybe he was trying to leave, and then Doritos was like, "Yo, gamers like Doritos,
we'll
turn up,
you.
fam." And then
turn up, fam.
Turn up, fam.
And then they were
really
"Cool,
good
we're gonna
guess.
fund your Game Awards thing for funnies." And then gamers didn't like that.
That's a really good guess. That would be more interesting, more valid, if that was the case.
Great.
So I'm just going to read, and this is on Geoff Keighley's Wikipedia, so I'm not original. I'm citing my source as Wikipedia.
Wow, Lexi.
It says, Geoff Keighley had come under negative perception by gamers in 2012 after he was presenting information about Halo 4 while sitting among stands advertising Mountain Dew and Doritos products. Several people critiqued this presentation as a sign of a lack of journalism standards, and the scenario became known as Doritos Gate within the community, while Keighley was derogatorily called Dorito Pope. Eurogamers.
Wait, I want to clarify something really quick. So the whole thing stems from him covering a game while standing
in front of some
near
Doritos?
Basically. So Eurogamers
gamers deserve to be oppressed. I'm saying it.
Yeah, no.
So
Sorry,
this describes the situation, because I was also like, excuse me, what? Eurogamer's Robert Florence criticized Keighley's presentation in the state of games journalism at the time. Quote, Geoff Keighley is often described as an industry leader, a games expert. He is one of the most prominent games journalists in the world. And there he sits, right there, beside a table of snacks. He will be sitting there forever in our minds. That's what he is now. And in a sense, it is what he always was. And it says, this event led Keighley to review his current career. I'm like, dude, Eurogamer journalist, no offense. Eurogamer guy, it's not that deep. It is not that deep. It does not undermine Geoff Keighley's credibility.
What does that have? What? Why is what? Okay, all right.
There Jeff sits, surrounded by his Dorito empire. How dare you gaze upon Jeff?
That has copy pasta material. What?
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I just have to read this. This is on the Wikipedia, but it's cited. You can go down to that article where he said that,
oh my God,
and
I'm crying.
click on it.
That's
It's
legendary.
the article-
What the hell?
The article on Eurogamer from October of 2012 says, quote, Lost Humanity 18, a table of Doritos. That's what it's called.
Oh my god.
I think I killed Gurdon. I can hear him
That's gonna
whistling
live in my
the
head
other
rent
room.
free. Oh my god.
So
These people are moral grandstanding Doritos.
yeah, God forbid Geoff Keighley talk about Halo 4 while he's standing by a Mountain Dew and Dorito.
Okay, Lexi,
sign.
I don't know if you know more about this story. Was Doritos a sponsor, or was he just like, bro, I'm really craving these
He
was
just had
just-
to be near Doritos.
It was advertising during the 2012 let's see. Yeah, he was just presenting some information about the game. And he was standing by advertising for Mountain Dew and Doritos. So
Like it wasn't like he wasn't even paid to be there. He was just existing near an ad for Doritos.
I mean,
like,
I
that's just
wonder
I
wonder
hope
if wherever, again, it doesn't say.
I hope it's at
doesn't
least
say, like-
advertising. Like,
Well, yes, it does say that that he was sitting among stands advertising Mountain Dew and Doritos. So I don't know what company this was with,
I'm crying.
or what show he was on,
I'm crying. I'm
or
so
if this
sorry.
was just something for Halo 4 that they had him come film. I can't tell.
As a
but-
purveyor of Halo things, there was a Halo crossover, I believe, for Halo 4 to get like items in game. So like,
Okay.
maybe they were like, you know what? Screw it. We'll also pay whatever the heck this thing is called again. We'll pay.
They probably just paid Geoff Keighley to come in and talk about the game, and just had
happened to have
advertisements.
Doritos nearby, and they're just
Yeah,
like,
like on signs by him. Like if he was sitting at a table, maybe there were posters or signs around him or something. Let me see if I can find a photo.
find a
I know
photo
we're-
of Jeff and his,
I haven't
and his
finished
spoils
yet.
of war.
And I know that we're running long, but I'm trying to find
Like,
a
see, this could run on for
picture
3
of-
hours if I can keep hearing about
Honestly,
Oh my god!
if we keep hearing about Dorito Pope, we're gonna be here till like midnight. Like it's gonna
The
be.
episode is now called "How Could You Forget
time.
About Dorito Pope," and it will be a photo of
Oh my god!
of Geoff Keighley with a Dorito Pope hat.
Yeah,
Okay,
you just,
so-
you just you just Photoshop the Pope hat on him and everything.
Absolutely.
Okay, if you want to see the image, we'll put it on the screen for those of you viewing
It'll
the
also
video.
be the thumbnail, so you've probably already seen this.
If you want the image, that
Yeah, I want to see. Oh,
it was definitely an advertisement.
What is this face?
Okay, I mean that makes more sense. Like I imagined it more like he was just like walking around or like in a general studio, and there was just like a bag of Doritos, like among.
Why does
So-
it
kind of.
hold
You
on? Hold on. I need a moment. Hold on.
That's that Code Red too.
Oh nah.
That ain't regular.
Nah.
That ain't regular Mountain Dew. That's Mountain Dew Code Red.
Yeah, so that's definitely an ad. I mean, it's God.
Why?
I mean,
his face is the most serious face I have ever seen in my
Yeah,
life.
because he's presenting information about Halo 4. I mean, he was probably just like, in this game, you can do these things. Like, he probably had a script.
I need to
He's
find.
just talking so seriously, and then there's this Mountain Dew and Doritos in the background.
I need to find. There was
Oh
an
my
old
God.
meme from I think like 2012 or 2013. It was some random dude's name, and they were like, "This is my sheep, like James." And people are like, "Why does James look like he has a 9 to 5?" And I'm trying to find this sheep's
Oh my
face
gosh.
right now.
Okay, well,
All right. Well, if you do, I will throw it up for
Yeah.
funnies. 'Cause that sounds great.
but basically, I read that as two ways. As like, the criticism comes across as really harsh against Geoff Keighley when I don't think it was really Geoff Keighley's fault. But it was a good criticism about like, people don't take games seriously. People don't take game journalists seriously as actual journalists. And I think that's more of what the critique was supposed to be, is that, when Robert Florence said, he's sitting by the snacks, he will be sitting there forever. That's what he is now. And in a sense, it is what he always was. Highlighting the fact that a lot of companies and a lot of places used gaming as like a marketing tactic and didn't take it as legitimate forms of entertainment, didn't take it as a legitimate form of journalism and of art, really. So I think that was really interesting, as much as like it makes me laugh because I'm like, man, are you really that mad about the Doritos? But in all seriousness, I think the critique is more like, people are always laughing at gaming and gamers.
At gamers, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're not being taken seriously. Because, like, don't get me wrong. Is every game a winner? No. Absolutely
Ship
not.
Graveyard Simulator, great game. Not a winner, though.
Not every game is a great game, right? But it doesn't mean that the entire genre shouldn't be taken seriously, or that it's just, oh, that's all goofy stuff. We don't want to take that seriously at all. So I think that is what that criticism is more about. And it said here, you know, it led Geoff Keighley to really think about, hey, what am I doing? You know, what am I, you know, if I decide to do the Game Awards for Spike, or the Spike Video Game Awards, aka VGX, if I decide to do that, am I going to be taken seriously? Am I just going to be a laughing stock still? So
that's actually, that's really well eloquently put.
Good job, Lexi.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I wish the article was like that instead of like dramatic copy pasta we got. No, I agree with that completely. That's good.
Yeah. So, you know, that's the history there of then in 2014, Geoff Keighley's like, okay, I'm going to make a change. I'm going to try to do what I originally wanted to do, which was an actual legitimate award show for gaming. So it says in 2014, or throughout the year of 2014, he funded his own efforts to put together a new award show. He gained the support of Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, as well as major publications and industry leaders. Thus, he established the Game Awards, which were first presented in December of 2014, where he remains the primary host. So that is where we're at today. And honestly, he took a big risk, because it said here, as I was doing my research, that he didn't have a broadcaster. So he and the other producers and the other companies, they were like, hey, we're just going to live stream this show on consoles and as well as on Steam. And, you know, we're just going to do it there. And one of the things that I thought was really cool about Geoff Keighley as well is with the Game Awards, he's always solicited input from fans on what they want to see, how he can improve, and really make the show about gaming. And so one of the cool things that I found was that he typically does this while he's at like trade shows and conventions and things like that. He's actually out talking to people. But during COVID, he couldn't do that. So he invited around 100 fans to private chats and private Zoom calls and things like that with the other organizers to say, hey, what should we be doing with this award show? What do you want to see? And
wow.
I think that's amazing, because that shows that he actually does care what the community, what the gamers want and what they want to see. And when I looked at the numbers for the viewership since 2014, the very first Game Awards hosted by Geoff Keighley, 2014, 1.9 million viewers.
Jeez.
So that's not a lot, but it's more than what I would have thought if it was just live streaming on consoles and Steam. But the viewership has jumped as of last year's presentation in 2023 to 118 million viewers.
Ooh.
Wow. And that's live?
Yes.
Oh my
gosh. Yeah, no, he has built up something good here.
Yeah.
Right. And even in 2020, when they had to do a virtual event, they still had 83 million viewers for that.
Goodness graciousness.
So that's pretty amazing. But yeah, I mean, the common thread in gaming and in awards related to gaming is Geoff Keighley.
He's the father of gaming.
The father of Game Awards.
Yeah, exactly.
But
he blessed the earth with his game awardness. I don't know. I didn't think of something.
He
in
gave
time.
us the D-pad. That's the thing.
Yeah, cool.
It's really easy to spread misinformation, by the way, on the internet. If you guys
my
didn't
God.
know.
Yeah.
No.
How it feels to spread misinformation. Dolphin coming back.
So Geoff Keighley did not create the D-pad.
Oh, okay.
However, I want to leave you guys with this thing to really sell just how much gaming and culture has changed, and that it has really become something huge. Cybermania 94.
Sorry.
It was seen by 1.1% of the United States, and it was largely negatively received. Geoff Keighley wrote some of the lines for Cybermania 94 when he was 14 years old.
And you could too.
Well, probably not. And as of last year, his Game Awards that he has helped create and helped cultivate, there was 118 million live streams.
Oh my goodness.
That is still, that is a mind-boggling number. And like coming all the way from the, such classics such as Cybermania 94. It can seem like a downgrade, but it's still really good.
You think he was like, I peaked after this Game Awards 94, Gamer Zone 94.
Or Cybermania 94.
Cybermania.
How could you forget?
I'm so sorry. I'm looking for the sheep still.
Remember the name. I'm sure maybe Fort Minor performed at one of the Spike Video Game Awards. Maybe that's the tie-in there. Remember
Honestly,
the name.
that'd be sick.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, Geoff Keighley didn't create Cybermania 94. He only was, as a teenager, he was writing some lines and some dialogue and stuff like that. But to go from that to hosting and helping create and produce, of course, he's not alone. He has a team of people, and he gets
he operates every
feedback
camera,
from fans.
Lexi.
But yeah.
He just runs around
Geoff
really
Keighley
fast.
is actually he's actually in like 50 bodies at the same time, so he can run all of the Game
Geoff
Awards.
Keighley's a hive mind is what I've learned from this episode.
Oh my god.
The Dorito Pope is a hive mind. That's how he infects
my
you.
Dorito
actually.
Pope.
The Dorito Pope is a hive mind is not a sentence I ever thought I would hear or say out loud. So that is
hive mind. It's such a good line.
Oh my gosh. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to go through this because, of course, you have the entire history of the Spike Video Game Awards, which, again, shout out Burback. If you want to go see clips and hear their breakdown of that, go check that out.
Or you can just
100%
listen to this
recommend
episode
that.
again because it was so good.
that is
yeah,
true.
with this episode, I wanted to talk a little bit about, too, just how much gaming has changed. And honestly, for the better. I mean, I know there's a lot of things that are for the worse. We could talk about microtransactions or, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on.
I thought you said bad things, Lex. I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, EA, calm down.
The list goes on and on about, games being released unfinished and DLC being the price of the full game. And, there are still negative things in gaming and things that are going to hopefully change within the next 10 years of gaming. But I think it's really awesome that we went from 94, a show that was watched by hardly, 1% back then, not bad, but hardly anybody. Gaming was extremely niche, to 2003 Spike Video Game Awards, where there were some big name, heavy hitting games, but it was all, only men and the manly men and women in bikinis, and it was very sexist.
It's just all played for laughs.
Right. Gaming being laughed at, to now, Game Awards being introduced in 2014. I think that was really the point where gaming started to pick up, for no pun intended, more steam and more relevance in culture, where people were playing different kinds of games. A lot of people would say, oh yeah, I'm a gamer. And it was not like, oh, you loser, you nerd. It was like, oh, what games do you play? And so, of course, there's still sexism. There's still a lot of issues in the gaming industry, but it's nice to tune into the Game Awards and see a lot of diverse developers. We see women on stage presenting, developing games, people being taken seriously when they're developing these new technologies, and even just talking about things like Unreal Engine, like the amount of progress we've made in all of those categories is amazing. So, the Game Awards is about to hit 10 years, and I'm just really excited to see what the next 10 years for gaming is going to be. And I'm just glad it's being taken seriously and even adapted into other forms of quote unquote traditional media through movies and shows and the music. So it's just really awesome.
Yeah, I honestly agree 100%. And I like what you said too about how they're being there are still like cases of, people not being taken seriously, like sexism and unfinished games and all work conditions, especially. Yeah. Like all kinds of bad things can like be happening, but it is good to focus on the good things as well. Like, if you focus purely on the bad things and bad aspects of stuff, it's not good for your soul. And I think celebrating things like the Game Awards that have really stood the test of time and become better over time and turned into something where, game developers are being taken seriously, and it's a really big communal event for everyone to gather around and celebrate the art form, I would say, of gaming. Like, it is good. It's good to focus on the good things sometimes. And I think we did that somewhat here. I know we talked a lot about Spike and that, dumpster fire, but regardless, I feel like, Geoff Keighley's built up something good, and that deserves to be talked about and celebrated.
Right.
Yeah. With the Game Awards coming up, again, hopefully right around the time that this comes out, right? Do you think that this will be the first time since 1994 that a game not made this year wins Game Awards? Because Elden Ring DLC is up for Game of the Year, so...
Oh.
That is actually surprising to me, how a DLC is nominated for Game of the Year.
You know what? If Mortal Kombat from 1992 can win in 1994, I don't put it past Elden Ring to win.
Don't let your dreams be dreams, Elden Ring. Show them what for.
I just remembered that, and I wanted to point that out, that I don't think a game not released this year has won Game of the Year or whatever it was back in 94 since that year. So I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, so comment down below. What are you looking forward to for the Game Awards?
What flavor do you think Geoff Keighley was also? Just give me your favorite Geoff Keighley flavor of...
What Mountain Dew flavor is Geoff Keighley?
No, he's the Dorito Pope. So, like, what flavor...
Oh, what flavor of Doritos?
What flavor...
He's a Cool Ranch guy, I think.
He's a Cool Ranch? Okay.
I mean, I think he's a classic nacho cheese.
I think he's nacho
can't
cheese?
go wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's nacho cheese.
Comment
Well,
below...
true. I mean, that is what he's with here.
True. But comment
okay,
below
so
what
never
you think...
mind.
What, Lexi?
I was going to say, never mind commenting what you want to win for Game of the Year. Now
No,
you
do
need
both.
to comment.
You can...
do
both. Two
And
different
don't
comments.
put a period or a space in between it. Yeah, exactly. Two different comments.
Two different comments. Don't tell me which is which, though. You're like, just say Cool Ranch and then a game.
And then Balatro.
Yeah, it will be Balatro, though. So just as a
Cool
heads up.
Ranch
Oh, of
and
course.
Balatro.
It better be Balatro. That'd be fun. Cool Ranch and Balatro is my kind of night. Honestly, Cool Ranch and Balatro sounds like a great night, and there was no one who I'd rather spend that night with than with the patrons who help.
That they're
support
right
this
here.
True. Oh wow! Yo, they're all here.
What's
That's
that
crazy.
VR stuff I've been hearing about?
There's so many of you.
Oh, that's a lot of names. That's crazy. But yes, thank you very much for supporting the podcast and supporting me and Gordon's insane endeavors.
Thank
And
y'all
for
for letting me host this week.
The host.
I learned a lot about all of us, myself, and Dorito Pope. So
You learned?
Yeah,
shout
this
out
was
to
a good
Geoff
episode.
Keighley.
I like it.
You rock, Geoff Keighley.
Hey,
No
yo,
hard
shout out
feelings.
JK.
Dorito Pope.
GK. Right.
GK?
Dorito Pope.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
I was going to say, you didn't say
Shout
this
out
whole
Geoff
time.
Keighley.
I was waiting for you to clarify that Geoff Keighley's name is spelled with a G, just as a...
Oh, it is. Yes, he's the OG.
He's the
the
Geoff.
original Jeff. OG Geoff Keighley, the original Jeff. So thank you all so much for listening, and remember who the OG is, the original Jeff Keighley.